Frost lions have an icy exterior that reflects colors, often showing up as a dark blue to a light purple or cyan or even white. A lion whose fur is frosty to the touch and its body is naturally cold. It can be found in the tundra or snowy mountains. Its bite causes a freeze-over, where ice just rapidly grows on and around the area that bit. If it stomps in anger, large sharp shards of ice erupt from the ground by its feet. They can be highly aggressive creatures, and they are not often found to be part of a pride like regular lions. A mother frost lioness will stay with her cubs until they are ready to venture off, searching for a new home and a mate of their own. Fathers will only stick around long enough for the mother to give birth before moving on to a new mate. Should a frost lion end up trapped or in a near-death experience, and were saved either by another wild animal or by a race, they will end up loyal to them. They often treat their savior with care and protection. Female frost lions have a tendency to treat their new charge as if they were one of her cubs, regardless of their actual age and species. A Dune Dragon is always some shade of brown, while some have pale brown stripes and others may have darker stripes. The Dune Dragon is a massive reptile that travels in herds across the Chipululu Desert. From a distance, they would be often mistaken for giant camels if it weren't for their long, scaly tails, and sometimes the frills under their necks that can open at will. They will sometimes pull caravans, or can even be ridden to get from point A to point B. Their tail is typically docked when the beast is used for commercial travel, or when it is expected to be used in larger and more populated cities. The reptile's hind legs are powerful enough so that they can run at high speed while standing on them, and can even run across water so long as the surface remains mostly flat. They have large claws that they use to climb mountains and even the sides of buildings. They also have a strong sense of smell and can track anything or anyone through literal sandstorms, which they are completely unaffected by, due to their second eyelid shielding their eyes from wind and sand damage. These lizards are not all that bright, and have a tendency to snap at and eat anything smaller than them, including other people and even house pets. The best way to prevent this is to keep it well fed and to put a muzzle over it as soon as it's done eating, because once it starts eating, it cannot be stopped except by its own free will. Gem cobras often have darkly colored scales, but the patterns on kings are always much brighter and bolder. The gemstones on kings can also vary. Gem cobras are some of the most venomous creatures to slither across the sands of the Chipululu Desert, but they mostly reside in dark caves and forgotten ruins, preferring the darkness over the bright sun. Their scales glitter like gemstones in the light, and even though they shed their scales periodically and can regrow them, they are a prime target for poachers. A single gem cobra's bite can cause death in a maximum of 5 days. If the bite isn't treated and antivenom applied within the first 3 days, treatment and recovery becomes impossible. Flesh will start to melt off the bones and the victim will be paralyzed, waiting for their death for the next 2 excruciatingly painful days. Gem cobras lay 2 eggs 3 times per year. Female cobras have to stay and protect the eggs, otherwise other cobras will eat them. Female gem cobras often die of starvation shortly after the babies hatch, some even during their first nest. Once every other year, a single gem cobra will be born extra large with extra potent venom. These are known as king gem cobras, despite their biological sex. Gemstones are embedded in its scales across its belly. Gem cobras tend to congregate around the king, weaving in and out of the mass of cobras. Fantasy horses, also known as unicorns, pegasi, and alicorn, each come in 3 different body types. This includes pony, the standard horse, and the Clydesdale. These horses can come in any color from blacks, whites, and browns to pastel rainbow colors, and to even darker or more bold colors of the rainbow. They can also sport any known horse patterns such as plain or patternless, dun, dapple, leopard, spotted blanket, skewbald, and many more. Even their horns can come in many colors. A pony, standard horse, or Clydesdale with a horn coming out of its forehead is known as a unicorn. Unicorns with wings are known as alicorn, and they are completely different species. If they have wings, but no horn, that is what is known as a Pegasus. Ponies are usually ridden by the smaller races, such as Persa or Zephyr, and Clydesdales are big enough to be ridden by the larger races, or Troon and up. Standard horses are ridden by mostly Troon, but sometimes Troon hybrids and smaller Mayway. Pegasi and alicorn are not born with the ability to fly. They have the wings, but as the horse ages, the wings grow. Eventually, the wings get big enough to carry their weight, and they start to train themselves to ride the wind and eventually fly, often helped by their mother who tugs on their tail to keep them up in the air. Unicorns and alicorn are born with magic. Their magic can heal wounds of both living creatures and plant life, and they can restore forests that have been consumed by fire or other natural disasters. The colors of the Perspicuus Vulpis, also known as the spirit fox, fur coat is always predominantly white with light blues or sky blues for its eyes, back of its ears, and their gloves. The spirit fox is a massive creature that can easily dwarf a Cindy. Despite their size, they are very quiet and gentle creatures. They are not known for attacking others. They have the ability to phase through walls and completely disappear from sight, their tail being a prime example as the tip is always partially transparent. Their fur glitters in the sunlight. Spirit foxes can bond with people, whether it's because that person did something for it or that it senses that the person is genuinely good-hearted. They become fiercely loyal and protect their person as they sleep, sometimes staying up all night. Those who they do not trust or know who come too close will earn a growl as a fair warning, followed quickly by an attack should the person not heed its warning. It does not like people riding upon its back, but will offer a ride in dire circumstances. Zenbinaka often come in brown, which is real common, white, which is rare, or black, which is super rare. Fur. Paler underbelly and underside of tail. Patterns alternate between each deer. A buck's antlers are always a dark purple. These are deer that eat from the toxic hueberry bushes. They have a magic-imbued organ next to their spleen, a magical liver, that can process the toxins and expel them from the body. This liver is too deadly to eat. The doe and buck of this type of deer have a different way of expelling these toxins. The male's organ will push the toxins through special veins upwards through its body until it reaches its horn. These toxins slowly seep out over time and eventually turn the antlers their typical dark purple. These horns are dangerous and not just in sharpness. Should these toxins enter the bloodstream of a victim, that person, using our tune as a reference, will die within a few hours. Despite their liver being so deadly to consume, Zenbinaka buck meat is considered a delicacy. The female Zenbinaka's organ will push the toxins through similar veins all throughout their body and expel them through their sweat glands. This causes the disgusting smell of rotting meat or death that they are known for. Because the sickly sweat can be absorbed back into their skin and eventually seep into their muscles, their meat is permanently tainted and too poisonous to consume. The females in Zenbinaka have a shorter lifespan because of this. Theoretically, should they switch their diet, they would live a lot longer, but this can expose them to predators. When a Zenbinaka is born, a pattern will be revealed in its fur. They are typically located on either the face and hindquarters or just the Zenbinaka's back. These patterns will alternate in color and design between each Zenbinaka. They will fade as the Zenbinaka grows older, blending better into their fur. Because of this, untrained eyes might not even realize what kind of pattern an elder Zenbinaka has until it has offspring of its own. Patterns including color, design, and placement are passed down from mother to offspring. The Plu'leanok is commonly white, but sometimes, on super rare occasions, they are brown. The Plu'leanok was not discovered as an existing species until the fog settled over the hills. of Homa of Ushmak. That is when the giant creatures made their first appearance. It is believed that they lived in the cave systems deep beneath the hills and had only remained hidden because the sunlight hurt their eyes. They evade the sunlight because of how sensitive their eyes are to light, and their body is photosensitive. They lived in the caves all their lives and had remained in the caves for who knows how many centuries. They naturally evolved to be this way. These creatures are slow-moving, so slow that they look almost frozen in time. It is only when they hear twigs snap or dead leaves crumple that they become fast. They're surprisingly swift for something that has moved so slow, rushing in the direction of their prey. Anything that makes a noise in its presence is often dead within seconds, the large beast having taken a powerful swing at it with its sharp claws and long forelimbs. They have been considered an apex predator since their discovery. TDEra has a Patreon for those who are interested in donating. We have 6 different tiers with a multitude of benefits. All proceeds go to my construction crew, advertisements, and any necessities that we may need to continue the project. For more information, check the Patreon link in the description below.